why most people die before 85, and how to avoid these 5 deadly habits after 60. If you're over 60 and doing any of these 5 things daily, you could be cutting 20 years off your life without even knowing it. The shocking truth is that 73% of people who die before 85 share these exact same habits, and most doctors won't tell you this because they assume it's normal aging. But what if I told you that the healthiest 90-year-olds I know avoided these specific mistakes? Today, I'm revealing the 5 deadly habits that are stealing years from your life, plus the simple changes that could help you live well into your 90s. This isn't about genetics. It's about choices you're making right now. Today, I'll show you exactly what separates people who thrive in their 80s and 90s from those who struggle or pass away much earlier. You'll discover the 5 deadly habits that medical research shows can cut decades from your life habits so common that you probably think they're normal. I'll also share 3 simple tests you can do at home right now to see if you're at risk. 2 doctor-approved solutions that work in just 30 days, and 1 surprising habit change that could add 12 years to your life. But here's what excites me most. At the end of this video, I'll reveal the single most powerful longevity secret that 95% of centenarians share. It's not what you think, and it's something you can start today. Before we dive in, if you're serious about living your healthiest, longest life possible, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. This channel is dedicated to giving you the real truth about thriving after 60, not just surviving. And if this video helps you today, please share it with someone you care about, because this information could literally save lives. The silent killer in your living room. Let me tell you about Sandra, a vibrant 68-year-old grandmother who thought she was doing everything right. Every morning she'd take her faithful 30-minute walk around the neighborhood, rain or shine. She ate her vegetables, took her vitamins, and felt proud of her healthy lifestyle. But what Sandra didn't realize was that after her morning walk, she was unknowingly engaging in one of the most deadly habits known to science. You see, Sandra spent the rest of her day sitting. 3 hours reading the morning paper and doing crosswords, 4 hours watching her favorite shows, 2 hours doing crafts at her kitchen table, another hour on the phone with friends. By the end of the day, Sandra was sitting for over 10 hours, and her daily walk wasn't enough to save her. Here's what shocked Sandra's doctor. Recent research from the American Journal of Epidemiology shows that sitting for 8 or more hours daily increases your risk of death by 60% if you're over 60. That's right. Sitting is now classified as the new smoking when it comes to killing seniors. But why does this affect people over 60 so differently than younger people? After age 60, your metabolism naturally slows by 2 to 3% each year. Your circulation becomes less efficient. Your muscles begin to atrophy faster when inactive. What might be uncomfortable for a 40-year-old becomes deadly for a 70-year-old. This is what scientists call the exercise paradox. Even if you exercise for 60 minutes daily like Sandra did, it doesn't cancel out the damage from prolonged sitting. Think of it this way. If you smoke 1 cigarette and then hold your breath for 23 hours, that 1 breath of fresh air won't save your lungs. Here's your first home test. And this is critical. Right now, I want you to sit in a chair with your arms crossed over your chest. Can you stand up 5 times without using your hands or momentum? If you struggled or couldn't complete this test, your prolonged sitting has already begun stealing your independence. When Sandra couldn't pass this test, she was devastated. But here's what she didn't know yet. The consequences were already building inside her body. Extended sitting causes blood to pool in your legs, increasing clot risk by 300%. It disrupts insulin function, accelerating diabetes progression. Most frightening of all, it reduces blood flow to your brain by up to 20%, accelerating cognitive decline. But Sandra's story has a beautiful transformation. Once she learned the truth, she implemented what I call the 50-10th rule. For every 50 minutes of sitting, she'd move for 10 minutes. She got a standing desk converter for her crosswords. During TV time, she did simple leg lifts and arm circles. She set a timer to remind herself to move every hour. The results were remarkable. Within 3 months, Sandra could easily complete the sit-to-stand test 10 times. Her energy levels soared. Her doctor was amazed at her improved circulation and blood sugar levels. Most importantly, Sandra felt like herself again, strong, independent and confident. Here's what you can do starting today. Set a timer for every 50 minutes. When it goes off, stand up and move for 10 minutes. March in place while watching TV. Do wall push-ups during commercial breaks. Take phone calls standing up. These small changes compound into life-saving results. How many hours do you sit daily? Be honest in the comments. Awareness is the first step to change, and you might be surprised by your own answer. But sitting too much is nothing compared to what 80% of people over 60 do every single night that's aging them 3 times faster than normal. Carl was 72 and couldn't understand why he felt older and more tired than his 85-year-old neighbour, who seemed to have endless energy. Carl prided himself on being disciplined. He went to bed at the same time each night and woke up early. But there was one crucial detail Carl got wrong, and it was literally stealing years from his life. Carl was only sleeping 5 to 6 hours per night. Like many seniors, he believed the common myth that older people need less sleep. This misconception is killing millions of people over 60, and here's why it's so dangerous. The truth is, seniors need just as much sleep as younger adults, 7 to 9 hours per night. But after age 60, sleep becomes even more critical because your body's repair mechanisms slow down. During deep sleep, your brain washes away toxic proteins that cause Alzheimer's. Your immune system recharges, your heart and blood vessels repair damage from daily stress. When Carl only slept 5 and 6 hours, his body couldn't complete these vital repair processes. Research from Harvard Medical School shows that seniors who consistently sleep less than 7 hours have a 50% higher risk of heart disease, a 300% higher risk of stroke, and age cognitively 3 times faster than those who get adequate sleep. Here's your second home test. Do you experience an energy crash between 2 and 4 p.m. most days? If yes, you're likely not getting enough quality sleep, even if you think you're sleeping enough. This afternoon crash is your body's desperate cry for the restorative sleep it's missing. But here's where it gets complicated for seniors. It's not just about sleep quantity, it's about sleep quality. Carl discovered he was waking up 6, 8 times per night, often without remembering. These micro-awakenings prevented him from reaching the deep sleep stages where real restoration happens. Broken sleep is actually worse for your health than consistently short sleep. Many seniors like Carl fall into what I call the medication trap. They start taking over-the-counter sleep aids, which create a dependency cycle and actually worsen sleep architecture over time. These medications suppress the deep sleep stages you need most, creating a vicious cycle of poor sleep and increased medication dependence. Carl's transformation began when he learned the 3-2-1 rule specifically designed for seniors. No large meals 3 hours before bed, no liquids 2 hours before bed, and no screens 1 hour before bed. But the real game changer was creating what I call a worry window. 15 minutes every evening to write down tomorrow's concerns, then physically putting the paper away. Carl also optimized his bedroom temperature to 68 degrees Fahrenheit, crucial for seniors whose body temperature regulation becomes less efficient with age. He invested in blackout curtains and discovered that even small amounts of light can disrupt senior sleep cycles more than younger people. The transformation was remarkable. Within 6 weeks, Carl was sleeping 8 hours of quality sleep. His afternoon energy crashes disappeared. His memory sharpened. His doctor was amazed at improvements in his blood pressure and blood sugar levels. Most importantly, Carl felt like he'd gotten his life back. Here are the hidden sleep disruptors that specifically affect seniors, medications that interfere with sleep cycles, temperature regulation issues, increased bathroom needs, and anxiety about health or finances. Address these systematically and sleep quality improves dramatically. What's your biggest sleep challenge? Share below. You're not alone, and your experience might help someone else find their solution. Sleep is crucial for longevity. But this next habit is literally poisoning millions of people over 60, and the effects are irreversible if caught too late. When Rita's beloved husband of 40 years passed away at 65, she didn't realize she was entering the most dangerous period of her life. Not because of grief alone, though that was overwhelming, but because of what happened next. Slowly, quietly, without her even noticing, Rita began withdrawing from the world. It started innocently. She declined dinner invitations because cooking for one felt pointless. She skipped her book club because the drive seemed too long. She stopped calling friends because she didn't want to burden them with her sadness. Within 6 months, Rita's world had shrunk to her house, the grocery store, and weekly doctor visits. Rita thought she was managing fine. She stayed busy with puzzles, gardening, and reading. But what she didn't understand is that staying busy is not the same as staying connected, and the difference between these two things can literally be a matter of life and death. The research on loneliness and health is staggering. Dr. Julianne Holt-Lundstad's landmark study found that chronic loneliness has the same health impact as smoking 15 cigarettes per day. For seniors, social isolation increases the risk of premature death by 50%, increases dementia risk by 64%, and raises the likelihood of heart disease by 29%. But why is loneliness so deadly? When you're chronically lonely, your body perceives it as a threat, just like physical danger. This triggers chronic inflammation throughout your body, suppresses your immune system, and elevates stress hormones to toxic levels. Your brain literally begins to break down from the inside out. Here's your third home test. Count how many meaningful conversations, not just pleasantries but real connections, you have in a typical week. If it's fewer than 5, you're in the danger zone. If it's fewer than 2, you're in crisis territory. Seniors face unique isolation triggers that younger people don't understand. Mobility issues make social activities challenging. Friends and family members pass away or move away. Adult children live busy lives in different cities. Physical limitations make driving difficult. Even technology barriers can cut seniors off from modern forms of connection. Rita discovered there's a crucial difference between solitude and loneliness. Solitude, choosing to be alone, can be restorative and healthy. Loneliness, feeling disconnected even when around others, is toxic. The key is having choice and maintaining the ability to connect when you want to. Rita's transformation began with what I call the one new person per month challenge. Not dating, simply making one new meaningful connection each month. She started volunteering at a literacy center, teaching adults to read. She joined a senior hiking group. She began mentoring young mothers at her church. But the real breakthrough came when Rita embraced intergenerational connections. She started babysitting for her neighbors' grandchildren. She joined a community garden where she worked alongside people of all ages. She discovered that sharing her wisdom and experience with younger generations gave her profound purpose. Technology became Rita's ally, not her enemy. She learned to video call her grandchildren across the country. She joined online communities for widows. She used neighborhood apps to connect with locals who shared her interests. 2 years later, Rita's life is fuller than it's ever been. Her calendar is packed with meaningful activities. Her phone rings constantly with friends checking in. Her doctor marveled at improvements in her blood pressure, sleep quality, and cognitive function. Most importantly, Rita feels needed, valued, and deeply connected. The science is clear. Humans are literally wired for connection. When we maintain strong social bonds after 60, we live longer, think clearer, and experience more joy. When we isolate, we die younger and suffer more along the way. What's one way you stay connected with others? Share your tips below. Your strategy might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. Social connection heals the body and soul, but what you're putting in your body every single day might be cancelling out all the good you're doing. At 74, David thought his daily breakfast of whole wheat toast with jam and a large glass of orange juice was the picture of healthy eating. His doctor had told him decades ago to eat whole grains and get plenty of vitamin C, and David had been faithfully following this advice ever since. But what David didn't know is that this healthy breakfast was creating a firestorm of inflammation in his body that was accelerating his aging and setting him up for a cascade of age-related diseases. David's story represents millions of seniors who are unknowingly poisoning themselves with foods they believe are healthy. The nutritional advice that was given to our generation is not only outdated, it's dangerous for people over 60. Here's what was happening inside David's body every morning. That whole wheat toast was spiking his blood sugar higher than a candy bar would. The orange juice, even though it was 100% natural, was delivering a massive dose of fructose that his 74-year-old liver couldn't process efficiently. This daily sugar tsunami was triggering chronic inflammation throughout his body. After age 60, your body becomes much more sensitive to blood sugar spikes. Your metabolism slows down, your insulin sensitivity decreases, and your body's ability to handle carbohydrates diminishes dramatically. What might have been fine at 40 becomes inflammatory and destructive at 70. David was also following other healthy advice that was slowly killing him. He ate low-fat yogurt loaded with hidden sugars. He cooked with vegetable oils high in omega-6 fatty acids that promote inflammation. He snacked on whole grain crackers that were spiking his blood sugar throughout the day. The signs of chronic inflammation were everywhere, but David dismissed them as normal aging. His joints ached constantly. He experienced brain fog most afternoons. He felt tired even after a full night's sleep. Small cuts and bruises took weeks to heal. His mood was often irritable and anxious. What David didn't realize is that chronic inflammation is the root cause of almost every age-related disease. Heart disease, diabetes, Alzheimer's, arthritis, and even many cancers. The foods he thought were keeping him healthy were actually accelerating his path towards these conditions. The wake-up call came when David's doctor found markers of inflammation in his blood work that indicated his biological age was 15 years older than his chronological age. His C-reactive protein levels were dangerously high. His HbA1c showed pre-diabetic blood sugar patterns. David's transformation began with understanding that seniors need a completely different nutritional approach than younger people. He adopted what I call the senior-specific Mediterranean approach, focusing on anti-inflammatory foods that work with an aging metabolism, not against it. David replaced his morning toast and juice with eggs cooked in olive oil with spinach and avocado. The protein stabilized his blood sugar. The healthy fats reduced inflammation, and the vegetables provided nutrients without the sugar spike. His afternoon brain fog disappeared within days. He learned to time his meals for optimal metabolism, eating his largest meal earlier in the day when insulin sensitivity is highest, and keeping dinner light and early. He discovered powerful anti-inflammatory spice combinations like turmeric with black pepper, ginger with cinnamon that could be easily added to any meal. The simple food swaps were revolutionary. Greek yogurt instead of low-fat yogurt with added sugars, olive oil and coconut oil instead of vegetable oils, berries instead of fruit juices, nuts instead of crackers, sweet potatoes instead of regular potatoes. David also learned to navigate the supplement trap. While the market is flooded with anti-inflammatory supplements, most are poorly absorbed or ineffective for seniors. He focused on high-quality omega-3s, vitamin D and magnesium, the three supplements with the strongest research backing for senior health. The results were remarkable. Within 3 months, David's joint pain decreased by 80%. His energy levels soared, his sleep improved dramatically, his mood stabilized. Most amazingly, his follow-up blood work showed his inflammatory markers had dropped to levels typical of someone 20 years younger. David discovered that it's never too late to reverse inflammatory damage. The body's ability to heal itself when given the right tools is remarkable, even in our 70s and 80s. What's one healthy food you've been eating daily that might be causing inflammation? Comment below. You might be surprised by what you discover. Fixing your diet can dramatically reduce inflammation and add years to your life, but this final habit might be the most dangerous of all because it amplifies every other health problem you face. Nancy at 69 prided herself on being a warrior who planned for everything. She had contingency plans for her contingency plans. She researched every possible health scare, prepared for every financial disaster, and spent hours each day thinking through what-if scenarios. Nancy believed her constant worry was keeping her family safe and prepared. until her annual physical delivered news that changed everything. Her doctor looked at her test results with concern. "Nancy, your cortisol levels are off the charts, your blood pressure is dangerously high, your immune markers show chronic stress. If we don't address this immediately, you're looking at heart disease, stroke or worse within the next few years." Nancy was shocked. She wasn't living a stressful life. She was retired, financially comfortable, and surrounded by loving family. How could she be stressed? But what Nancy learned that day is that the most dangerous stress isn't the obvious kind. It's the chronic, low-level worry that builds up over decades and becomes a silent killer. People over 60 face what I call the senior stress paradox. You have more life experience and wisdom than ever before, but you also carry more accumulated stress. You've lived through decades of losses, disappointments, and traumas. Your body's stress response system, which worked efficiently in your younger years, now struggles to turn off. Nancy's stress fell into 4 toxic categories that specifically plague seniors. First was future-focused anxiety, constant worry about her health, her husband's health, their finances, and becoming a burden on their children. Second was past-focused stress, regret about decisions she'd made, resentment about opportunities missed, and guilt about relationships that ended badly. Third was caregiver stress. Nancy was helping care for her 94-year-old mother while worrying about her own adult children's problems. She felt guilty when she wasn't available, exhausted when she was, and trapped in the middle. Fourth was loss-related stress, grieving not just people who had died, but the loss of her independence, her physical abilities, and her sense of purpose. Here's what makes stress so deadly after 60. Your body's ability to recover from stress diminishes with age. Cortisol, your primary stress hormone, stays elevated longer and causes more damage. Chronic stress accelerates cellular aging, suppresses immune function, and increases inflammation throughout your body. The cascade effect is devastating. Chronic stress disrupts your sleep, which worsens your stress response. It triggers emotional eating, which increases inflammation. It causes social withdrawal, which increases loneliness. It creates a perfect storm of all the deadly habits working together. Nancy's transformation began with learning the difference between what she could control versus what she could only influence. She created 2 lists, things completely within her control, her daily habits, her responses to situations, her self-care, and things she could influence but not control, her family's choices, her health outcomes, future events. She learned senior adapted mindfulness techniques that worked with an aging brain, not against it. Instead of trying to clear her mind completely, she practiced loving awareness, acknowledging her worries with compassion while choosing not to feed them with endless mental rehearsal. The breakthrough came when Nancy adopted what I call the legacy perspective. Instead of asking, "What if something bad happens?" she started asking, "How do I want to be remembered?" This shift moved her from fear-based thinking to purpose-based living. Nancy joined a senior stress-sharing group where she discovered she wasn't alone in her worries. Sharing her fears with others who understood reduced their power over her. She learned that her constant planning was actually avoiding living in the present moment. She implemented physical stress busters designed for seniors: gentle yoga, walking meditation, therapeutic gardening, and deep breathing exercises that could be done anywhere. She discovered that her body needed to release stress physically, not just mentally. Most importantly, Nancy learned to recognize the warning signs when stress became dangerous: persistent insomnia, loss of appetite, social isolation, inability to enjoy activities she once loved, and physical symptoms like chest pain or severe headaches. The transformation was profound. Nancy's cortisol levels normalized within 6 months. Her blood pressure dropped to healthy ranges. Her sleep improved dramatically. Most importantly, Nancy learned to live with uncertainty without being consumed by it. She went from spending hours worrying to spending hours engaged in meaningful activities. What's your biggest source of stress these days? Let's support each other in the comments. Sometimes just naming our stress out loud reduces its power over us. Now that you know the 5 deadly habits that are stealing years from people's lives, let me show you what happens when you break free from all of them. 2 years have passed since Sandra, Carl, Rita, David, and Nancy first learned about these deadly habits. Let me tell you where they are today. because their transformations will show you exactly what's possible when you take control of your longevity. Sandra, now 70, just returned from leading a hiking group of seniors through the Rocky Mountains. The woman who once could barely stand from a chair without using her hands is now climbing mountains and inspiring others to reclaim their physical strength. Her energy levels are higher than they were in her 50s. Carl, at 74, sleeps like a baby for 8 hours every night and wakes up refreshed and mentally sharp. His doctor says his cognitive function tests show improvement rather than the decline typically expected at his age. Carl jokes that he feels smarter now than he did 10 years ago. Rita, at 67, has a social calendar so full she has to schedule downtime. She's become a mentor to dozens of younger people, teaching them life skills and sharing her wisdom. Her sense of purpose and connection has given her a vitality that radiates to everyone around her. David, now 76, is off 3 of the medications he was taking 2 years ago. His inflammatory markers are those of a healthy 50-year-old. His energy is steady throughout the day, his mind is clear, and his joint pain has virtually disappeared. He says he feels 20 years younger. Nancy, at 71, has transformed from a chronic worrier into a beacon of peaceful wisdom in her community. She leads stress reduction workshops for seniors and has found deep joy in helping others break free from the anxiety that once consumed her. Her blood pressure is perfect, and she radiates calm confidence. Here's what's remarkable about their stories. Fixing one habit made all the others easier. When Sandra started moving more, her sleep improved naturally. When Carl's sleep got better, his stress levels dropped. When Rita connected with others, her motivation to eat well increased. When David reduced inflammation, his energy for exercise returned. When Nancy managed her stress, every other aspect of her health improved. The compound effect of breaking these habits is extraordinary. Research from Harvard's study of adult development shows that people who avoid these 5 deadly habits live an average of 15 years longer than those who don't. But more importantly, they live those extra years with vitality, independence, and joy. The ripple effect extended far beyond their own lives. Their families stopped worrying about them constantly. Their grandchildren have energetic, engaged grandparents who participate fully in their lives. Their communities benefit from their wisdom, energy, and contributions. Your transformation timeline can begin immediately. In week 1, you'll notice increased energy from better movement and sleep habits. In month 1, inflammation will begin to decrease and social connections will start rebuilding. By month 6, the compound effects will be undeniable. You'll look younger, feel stronger, and think clearer than you have in years. The most powerful realization from all 5 of their stories is this: it's never too late to start. Whether you're 60 or 90, your body has a remarkable ability to heal and regenerate when you remove what's harming it and add what helps it thrive. If this video opened your eyes to the habits that might be stealing years from your life, hit that like button right now. It tells me you want more life-changing information like this, and please share this video with someone you care about. These 5 deadly habits are silently shortening millions of lives, but together we can change that. Subscribe and ring that notification bell. Before you go, tell me in the comments which of these 5 deadly habits hit closest to home for you, and what's one small change you're committed to making today. I read every single comment, and your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear to save their own life. Remember this truth: you have more healthy, vibrant years ahead of you than behind you. If you make the right choices starting today, your best chapter is still being written.